All right, welcome back, my friends. It is time for another reaction video to a MotorWeek retro review, and this week I've chosen the 2000 Pontiac Bonneville SSEi. Now, I did do relatively recently my history of Pontiac video, and so I'm kind of in the mood to look at these cars near the death of this brand. And, well, I have some preliminary thoughts regarding the platform, the interior, and the exterior styling, but let's take a look at what MotorWeek had to say about it.
MotorWeek is made possible by Lucas Oil, TireRack.com, and RockAuto.com.
You know, there was a time when a tattoo made you stand out in a crowd. But nowadays, we're so buried in tattoos, dreadlocks, and body piercing that you almost have to set yourself on fire to get noticed. Well, that's a problem shared by many General Motors sedans. How do you stand out from your corporate siblings when you share the same chassis, suspension, and even drivetrains? Well, Pontiac claims their all-new 2000 Bonneville does so by providing drivers an unparalleled combination of power, control, and luxury. Well, that sounds like a good start.
What a convoluted way to start off by saying badge engineering was ruining GM cars. So that was fascinating. It still comes back to when you look at Pontiac and Oldsmobile, Chevy, and Buick, well, they could all offer power, confidence, and luxury. What made Pontiac stand out? Well, ultimately, I think nothing. But let's see what they say.
Pontiac calls the all-new from the ground-up 2000 Bonneville luxury with attitude, a cocky phrase that certainly seems fitting for this eye-catching full-size sedan. It also denotes a design boldness that Pontiac hopes will restore the Bonneville's sagging sales to at least 1994 levels when over 92,000 Bonnies motored off the lots and into American driveways. Much of the Bonneville's attitude comes by way of its highly aggressive styling and wide, low-slung posture.
All right, so let's talk about the exterior here for a minute, and it's okay. I don't love the nose of it, those oversized fog lights that are set inset there instead of out at the edge. It looks okay. I mean, it looks like a fat Grand Am, for lack of a better word. You know, I kind of like the ridges they've got in the hood there, giving it just a little character, but I don't know, it looks like a big sedan with a big bumper, and I don't know. Take the badging off, and they could have unveiled this as an Oldsmobile.
The theme of animalistic headlamps, very pronounced grille, and inset driving lamps is carried throughout the Bonneville's 3 trim levels. The new road-hugging Bonneville features a segment-leading 62.6-inch track width in the front, while the long, low-appearance profile comes from a wheelbase that has grown 2 inches to 112.2 and a steeper raked windshield. SLE and SSEi attitude rides on standard 17-inch wheels and rubber, while an upswept rear deck and here a lid-top spoiler completes the Bonneville's wedge-shaped profile.
Now, I hate the rear end. This is what makes this car kind of memorable to me, is these really hideous taillights. I kind of see what they were trying to do, but it lacks any elegance. In trying to get some attitude, they just made it look clunky and, I don't know, a little juvenile, honestly. And I tend to like cars with a little spoiler on them. I tend to think it breaks up the line, and I don't like it here. I just don't. It just doesn't work for me. It truly looks tacked on. I do find it interesting how much the C-pillar right here reminds me of an old of the Impala. The way it does that. It's okay. It's not offensive overall. It just isn't. Nobody looks at this and goes, "Wow, that's beautiful."
And muscular rear haunches that contains the 62.1-inch wide track rear. Even more of the Bonnie's attitude can be found under the hood, and it's especially apparent if you're behind the wheel of an SSEi like our tester. There you'll find a supercharged variant of GM's reliable 3800 pushrod V6 engine that powers all Bonnevilles. Accompanied by the wonderful whine of the blower, this heavy breather exhales 240 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque.
Strong engine. I like the 3800 series. I just do. They're a good engine. Put a blower on them, 240 horsepower. I like this powertrain. I got nothing to say about that.
Running through a beefed-up 4-speed automatic transmission that's good for runs to 60 in 7.9 seconds. Quarter-mile passes average 16.4 seconds at 90 miles per hour.
You know, first off, let's say good for GM for actually having a 4-speed by this point. I'm joking. When other manufacturers were going to be approaching 5, 6, and 8s. Those numbers are okay. I mean, it's a big sedan, but does that get you excited? Does that say, oh my gosh, it's, challenging a BMW? No, it's just okay,
But our drivers felt the tranny's programming to shift well before the red line robbed the Bonneville of valuable high-rev thrust. Arresting the Bonneville's thrust when necessary is accomplished by standard 4-wheel disc anti-lock brakes. With large 11.9-inch vented disc in the front, 11.1-inch in the rear, stops from 60 were completed in a short 118 feet. Our drivers noted the excellent pedal feel, the car stability, and the Bonnie's rather pronounced nosedive.
I would like to say that's pretty impressive, actually. Kind of from watching a lot of these, 115 is like a magic number to me. 115 feet, that's magic, right? That's really good. So there's a GM, it has disc all around, it's not a Corvette, and it stops in 118, and it stops without any drama, right? It's not locking up, one tire doesn't lock up, there's no smoking, there's no pull, it just does its business. Very nicely done.
Out on the highway, this full-size Pontiac delivers a ride that would make its Bonneville namesakes not only proud, but very envious, as the new Bonneville provides a comfortable, balanced ride and is well-equipped to maintain its composure in a wide spectrum of driving conditions. That's due in part to the latest G platform, one it shares with the Buick LeSabre. Torsional stiffness has jumped 62%, while bending resistance is up 27%. There's also the McPherson Strut coil spring front suspension with a 30mm stabilizer bar and an independent coil spring setup in the rear that features shocks with automatic level control. During a run through our low-speed slalom, the Bonneville exhibited a fair amount of understeer and a minimal amount of body roll, allowing for quick and controlled side-to-side transitions. Steering feel is light and positive, but don't expect a lot of feedback. The Bonneville also comes with 2 other weapons in its car control arsenal. Traction control, optional on SE and SLE models, is standard on the SSEi, as is GM's highly touted StabiliTrak stability control system. So now that we've covered the Bonneville's attitude...
So, I mean, all that just kind of says it handles competently, but not necessarily sporty. I think that's pretty positive the way it is, with massive amounts of understeer. It's a big car with a big block sitting in front of it. Not a big surprise, but competent. But doesn't it feel automatically like they say, the ride would make an old Bonneville jealous, but then it's not sporty too? It looks like they're just trying to do too much to too many people. And I can't wait to talk about this interior. Oh my gosh, this is hideous. Let's get a little further and we'll see.
Let's talk about yours, and it should improve once you ease yourself into the Bonnie sporty and very luxurious cabin. Greeting both driver and front seat passenger in our SSEi tester are supportive leather trim buckets with 12-way power, heat, and a catcher's mitt design that provides additional support in the event of rear-end collisions. And it's just the beginning of what Pontiac calls a driver-focused adaptive interior. The driver faces a tilting steering wheel that's also mounted with redundant controls for the stereo. It fronts a comprehensive set of red-lit gauges and an equally useful driver information center just to the right, and the available IQ head-up display that projects vehicle speed, turn signals, and even stereo selections onto the windshield. The top-of-the-line Delco Bose stereo system incorporates an AM/FM cassette CD player with 7-band equalizer and 8 speakers with ear-pleasing results. Equally pleasing in their simple functionality are the automatic dual-zone climate controls just below. A pollen filter is included too.
So let me just interrupt. Lot there. There's some good stuff going on there. I think the seats look super comfortable. And you know, GM by this point was building things that looked like they actually fit the car. You know, the sill of the car was right there, and then the seat ran near it. Not like there was a gap there. It fit. The controls looked simple. I even liked the fact that it didn't have this stupid long column, right? It tilts. It worked really, really well. A lot of the problems that GM had at this time, and I've harped on before, is weird shaped door handles and weird insets around the door handles and lots of black, lots of gray. I hate the circular vents. I despise circular vents. And you've heard me say it before many times, these gray knobs. I believe that radio probably worked just fine. I believe this air conditioner worked just fine. And these big buttons, well labeled, easy to press, probably with gloves on too. But you're spending whatever this costs for a large, comfortable performance and luxury. And there's absolutely nothing luxury about something that looks like it should be installed on a Tonka toy. That's how I feel about these buttons that they have on the steering wheel too. There's no elegance to them at all. It's childlike, and it drives me up the wall. It was, for me, one of the biggest downsides of all Pontiacs, and it was there for a long time. I know they're supporters of them, but man, I hated this. But other than that, a lot of cool equipment. Not loving the color choices, but lots of cool equipment.
While little touches like a tilt while backing passenger side mirror and side impact airbags give Bonneville SSEi pilots an added measure of security, that same attention to detail is also carried over into the rear seats, where one finds ample room for 3 adults, an armrest with 2 cup holders, and concave front seatbacks for more knee room. A ski-sized pass-through leads to a large trunk with 18 cubic feet of storage space.
18 cubic feet? That's enormous. That's pretty impressive.
Our Bonneville SSEi tester is priced right in the thick of the entry-level luxury niche with an MSRP of $32,250. While slightly higher priced than the Chrysler 300M, the Bonneville is far better equipped. And when matched against the loaded Lexus ES300, this Bonneville's price makes it a clear winner. $24,295 will pick up a Bonneville SE for the more budget and less performance-minded folks, while $27,995 will buy an upgraded SLE. From start to finish, the combination of a comfortable and controlled ride, nicely balanced handling, the rush of kick-in-the-pants performance, standout styling inside and out, plus a host of little touches usually found only on pure luxury cars, the 2000 Pontiac Bonneville is clearly worthy of serious consideration for premium sedan shoppers. Luxury with attitude? Indeed. You got a problem with that?
So, what an interesting comparison. For me personally, I'd much rather have one of the Chrysler products over this. I think they looked better inside and outside and were just more, again, elegant along the way. And then, with the benefit of hindsight, I don't care how much more that Lexus ES costs, it's going to last longer than this Pontiac did. And I just see, just like I said in the history of Pontiac, and as I've said about Pontiacs before, I see a car that didn't know what it was. It was kind of sportily, or at least with an attitude, styled, but does that really compare with like that Lexus ES, which was boring? You know, wouldn't you rather have, if you're looking for more luxury, a Buick or the Oldsmobile at the time? The interior, it looked spacious enough, and everything seems to work fine. It had enough power, but why? If you're looking at something that's priced at kind of entry luxury, the only really thing here selling you is maybe, other than a supercharged engine, is size. I don't know. This car, it just doesn't work for me. I will say this with a giant grain of sand, that I'm willing to bet if I drove one of these, I would love it. This car is giving me just a tiny, tiny bit of the same kind of vibes I got when I did the reaction video a few weeks ago to the Ford Crown Victoria. That I could pick it apart for its size and weight and heft and understeer and all this other stuff. And I'm willing to bet if somebody was like, here, take it for a ride, I bet I'd love it, because this was right up my alley of the kind of things I liked. I just don't like some of the decisions they made in the compromises to make this car and to make it try to fit into a honestly artificial lineup that GM had between Chevy and Oldsmobile. Cool car, and if you've got some fond memories of it, let me know. I know I had family that loved Pontiacs, and they would have just gone ape over this car. But for me, it just doesn't work. Thanks for being here, guys.